Tua Tagovailoa was benched.
Seen even big time news for real.
I wanted to do this with Drew. I'm sick that he's not there for this.
Yeah, he's not going to witness this Tua.
We'll just talk about it next episode too.
Adam Schefter, he said the Dolphins are benching QB Tua and turning to Quinn Ewers as their starting quarterback, per sources. So Tua right now, on Polymarket, they have a prompt. Will Tua get traded by next season? Do you think that Tua does get traded from the Dolphins this season or after this season in the offseason? Or do you think the Dolphins do something else?
To where, man? I mean, this guy's not good. Like, it is what it is. This guy struggles to play in cold weather. Football is a cold weather sport. Has a noodle arm, still struggles to read the field. You need a perfect situation. And I mean, super, super perfect. And at that point, if you're in a perfect situation, that's probably a team who's thinking we can win a title if we have a quarterback. And do you really feel like you're going to bring in Tua and think you can win the title? I don't think so. I think he ends up staying with Miami. I think Miami's just going to either release him or eat the dead money and just figure it out from there. Or maybe they even keep the dead money on the books and just bench him. Like, I think that's definitely a possibility. I remember Denver benched Russell Wilson for some games. Like, it happens.
Yeah. And
I think Tua, he's declined. He's regressed every year. And I don't see a avenue where a team trades for him.
Yeah, it's really all about the contract. I think there's a chance they trade him. They would have to attach a draft pick, though, right? We saw Brock Osweiler, this happen when the Broncos gave him, Houston gave him that contract. Houston ends up trading him to the Cleveland Browns. They attach a pick. To me, it feels like, I don't know if likely is not the right word, but that feels like maybe the best solution for both parties. Because if you trade him instead of releasing him, it's a $45 million dead cap compared to a $95, $99 million dead cap. The Dolphins they have their first, second round pick. They have 3 third-round picks in this upcoming draft. So are you more willing to attach a second if you have multiple third-round picks? I think that's the best pathway for this to work out. In terms of what team would be interested in him, it has to be a team that's rebuilding and feels comfortable with their job, taking on this money, but you also get a draft pick in exchange that you could obviously use on a young player. The Raiders came to mind. It seems like Spytech is safer than Pete Carroll. It wouldn't surprise me if Pete Carroll ends up getting fired, but that's a team that just needs a rebuild right now. Like, they need a total rebuild. The issue is, of course, you're already paying Geno Smith all this money, so that's some more dead money you're going to have at the quarterback position. Can you find a way to send Geno back? I don't know, but it has to be a team that is in a position to rebuild and be willing to take on, obviously, the money. But for the money you're taking on, here's a second round draft pick. Here's a premium asset attached to Tua. And listen, Tua's he is like you said, Rip. He is what he is. He's not an upper echelon starting quarterback. Tua's not a backup either. Like, he is a low end starting quarterback. If you tell me he went to Vegas with Brock Bowers, maybe you draft a receiver in the first round, Ashton Genty. You have a new coaching staff. He's indoors half the games. Tua would be fine. Like, I don't think Tua is out there just like going to be a career backup going forward. I think he'll find stints here and there where if it's in the right position, I wouldn't be surprised if he throws for 3,500 yards or something, right? I don't think he's completely done in that aspect. But his time in Miami, I think, is done.
So right now, the percentage chance is that there's a 28% chance that he does get traded. I think the best situation for him, if he does go somewhere, is the Colts. They have a question mark at quarterback. Daniel Jones' injury. They don't know what they have in AR. And I think Tua would thrive in that type of atmosphere. What I find a hard time believing in is any team that's going to be willing to, number one, trade for Tua without getting an asset back. If Miami trades Tua, I think they'd have to attach a pick to get off of his contract. A similar thing that the Texans did with Brock Osweiler when they sent him to the Cleveland Browns. But we've seen a team recently cut a quarterback and eat all the dead money. It was the Denver Broncos. And they rebuilt their team rapidly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Miami Dolphins. But when a quarterback doesn't give you the best chance to win and he's making $200 million, he's a $53 million quarterback. What Mike McDaniel just signaled in benching Tua is that the organization, I believe, a 7th round rookie quarterback gives us a better chance to win than Tua. I think that is embarrassing. Tua has had success in the league, so I don't want to diminish him too much. But I felt like the signs were always there. He played with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Mike McDaniel's offense caught defenses off guard. And then as defenses adjusted to take away deep throws away, to pack the middle of the field, and Tua needed to make more high-level throws, he wasn't able to adapt. That's why I think Mike McDaniel, I would keep in Miami, because I think he's a great offensive mind. And I'd love to see him try to coach another quarterback that has more talent than Tua has at his disposal. But what I've seen from Tua this year is that he lacks the performance. What I've seen in previous years is that he lacks the talent. And as of recently, what I've seen is he lacks the leadership. Laughing with Jalen Ramsey after being eliminated from the playoffs
Was not a good look.
When he was asked about his benching, he said it's something out of my control. You lead the league in interceptions. That's in your control. I mean, you got benched because you were playing poorly. And all those numbers he put up against Pittsburgh, they were all garbage time numbers. He didn't do anything within the flow of that game. He was abysmal. And the Dolphins paying Tua was a franchise crippling move. They knew he had the injury history. They knew he couldn't win in big games. They knew that he was limited against better defenses. And they decided to pay him and make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks. And now it's going to completely cripple their franchise for the next couple of years. But it's also going back to drafting him when they selected him over Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert and Tua are always going to be tied together. And Justin Herbert and Tua right now are complete polar opposites, where Tua got paid, the situation drops off, and he drops off with it. Justin Herbert got paid, the situation drops off, and he's elevating it and making do with what's there and performing at a high level. Maybe not consistently, but for the most part, he's making things happen. It's the difference between paying a true game changer that's a franchise quarterback and paying somebody that's a game manager that type of money.
Yeah, it's a scary place to be in, though, if you're an organization. You know, obviously they made the wrong decision, but when you're looking at it now, you know, you had a quarterback, especially for Miami, who had been some time, right? Like they had Ryan Tannehill for a little bit. He moves on. Miami just hadn't had a quarterback as good as Tua in a long time. So when you see a quarterback in an offense playing at this high of a level, it is hard to take the facts as facts. And at the time, there were definitely questions around the contract, right? Like it wasn't this, like, oh my God, home run, like this is going to work. There was definitely questions, I think, around everybody saying Tua has some obvious flaws, right? We know the baseline for this offense has been great with Mike McDaniel here, but how will this contract age, you know, with the injury history and everything that we've said? I'm in agreement with you when it comes to Mike McDaniel, though. I think he's one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. Defensively, they had Vic Fangio at DC a couple years ago. He's been a great DC. He was beginning wasn't great with Miami. Goes to Philly, he's great. I like Anthony Weaver too. Like I like that defensive coordinator on their side. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, especially a pass rusher over the last few years. They had to make a lot of moves in their secondary this year because they were paying Tua. They didn't have the cap space. I feel like I've liked for the most part, at least the coaching of the team. The biggest knock on them this whole time, and part of this has to do with Tua, is just they're not made to win playoff games. Like it's always been a very soft, pass-friendly team that plays great in warm weather in the beginning of the year, and we see what happens every single time down in the stretch. What happens in December and even November and January when they get there. And that's on more than just Tua. Like that's on your GM, that's on the coaching staff, that's on the whole team. That doesn't just fall on the quarterback. So even with Tua replaced, I do think Miami has a lot to figure out. They haven't been able to figure out the offensive line, right? I don't think it's plugging a quarterback in, and Miami's a lock to be a playoff team. But Mike McDaniel and this offense would encourage me enough that he gets another chance at a quarterback. Like, who do you want? Do you want to draft a rookie? Do you want to take someone on day 2? Do you want to go try to get one of these veterans or Kyler Murray, whoever it might be? He has shown, I think, more than enough in his, whatever it's been, 3-4 years with Miami that he gets a chance to try this over.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw that Zach Wilson was frustrated he wasn't in the starter.
Yeah, because he's been the backup all season long, like the quote-unquote number 2. Mm-hmm. But Quinn Ewers, I get it. He was their draft pick Zach Wilson was a
I think it's definitely a
minimum
political decision.
Now they got to see what they got in him.
what? I mean, Zach Wilson was not good in the preseason.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have a hard time believing Quinn Ewers is better than Zach Wilson.
Well, we got to see.
Maybe I'm hot, but yeah, maybe we'll
Dude,
see what Quinn
The
Ewers
bar's so
does.
low.
You got to let it go.
I just feel like Zach Wilson in this offense, just give him a game.
Joel,
Give him a game.
I mean this with all the sincerity in my heart. Quinn Ewers could have a game on Sunday that could be like a top 5 game of Zach Wilson's career.
It's against the Bengals defense. I'm not
That's-
going to rule
that's what
that
I'm saying.
out. But if I was Zach Wilson, I would be frustrated too. Because you got to understand, he's on a 1-year deal.
That's because you also think you're still good.
Yeah, he's going to be a free agent. You know, this is Zach Wilson's tryout to maybe get a backup quarterback contract with another team in the offseason.
Could be with Miami still.
It could be. You know, I just think Zach, he earned it, man. What he did against Kansas City on primetime a couple years back,
A couple years back.
he played
That
really
makes
well.
you a career backup for life, just that game.
Yeah, just that game. There's enough talent there. There's enough talent that somebody's going to try to get the most out of.
Oh my god.
But no, the Dolphins, it's a good sign that they moved on from Chris Greer. I feel like they're slowly trying to fix all the terrible decisions he made with the roster, the terrible contracts that he handed out. And that's why I like Mike McDaniel there, because it was never his team. It was Chris Greer's team that he had to make work. And now, hopefully, if he stays, they're bringing a GM that can work alongside
that's
him.
also a weird pairing when you have a coach in place and you have to hire a GM. That's never...
Because here's the thing.
I feel like never works.
With Mike McDaniel, this was going to happen. If he's not the Dolphins head coach, he's going to go somewhere.
Being
He's going to be the OC.
They're going to win
He
the
should
Super
be.
Bowl.
He's going to have a top offense for a year or two. He's going to get another head coaching job.
I don't think he should be a head coach right now, though. I don't
like
think he's that good.
he's Philly's head coach next year.
No, he could be our OC.
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, OC, not head coach.
Hell no. Yeah, I don't think he survived as Philly's head coach.
No, that's tough.
Yeah,
That's
but
tough.
OC pull up. Like I want him as an OC. I think that's his job. I think some people are just born to be OCs, and some people are born to be like not everybody can be a leader of men.
Miami fought this year though. They started off 0-8, was it? And
Yeah.
they won
They won 4 straight or 5 straight.
Mike
Mike
whatever it was.
McDaniel, it was character development benching Tua.
Yeah.
Making that decision, that's his guy.
He's also just ass as fuck. Like you don't need to be a scientist to bench him. Like we
Listen,
all could have did that.
At the end of the day, like Tua is playing some of the worst football of his career right now. You're coming off probably the worst game of the season on primetime football. You just got eliminated from the playoffs. Tua, why are we playing you? Like, let's see what we got with Quinn. We'll probably lose. Quinn probably gives us a better chance of losing. Like, Tua had been playing bad, but there's a better chance that Tua ends up having a good game than Quinn Ewers does.
That we know of.
We have a better chance of losing. And what if Quinn Ewers does something impressive? It's not like he's going to be the franchise, but like, what if there's something? He was, 2 years ago, like Quinn Ewers was potential first-round pick. Obviously, things haven't worked out in his favor. But like, there was talent there at one point.